Captain Aris Thorne stood on the observation deck of the interstellar humanity ship Empathy, a vessel whose name was also its mission statement. Outside, the starscape was a serene tapestry of diamond dust on black velvet. Inside, the ship was a marvel of enlightened human engineering, all gentle curves, soft lighting, and quiet, purposeful hums. It was a ship built for understanding, not for fighting. Thorne, a man who believed that any conflict could be solved if you just found the right question to ask, felt it was a perfect fit. "Entering the Veil Nebula in 5 minutes, Captain," Lieutenant Eva Rostova's voice chimed from the bridge. "Energy readings are chaotic, just as the archives predicted." "Chaos is just a pattern we haven't learned to read yet, Eva," Thorne replied, his voice warm with the easy confidence of a man who had never met a problem he couldn't talk his way through. "Let's see if we can't learn the language." The Veil Nebula was the last great blank spot on humanity's star charts, a swirling, violent storm of cosmic gas and sensor-proof dust clouds that had swallowed every probe and ship that had dared to enter. It was a place of pirates and legends, a wound in the fabric of space. The interstellar diplomatic corps, in its infinite wisdom, had decided it was time to bring the Veil into the fold of peaceful, galactic society. They had sent their best theoretical strategist, their most promising young diplomat. They had sent Aris Thorne. As the Empathy slid past the nebula's outer wisps, the serene starscape was replaced by a churning maelstrom of incandescent purple and bruised indigo. The ship's advanced sensors, designed to read the subtle energy signatures of alien biologies, were instantly blinded by a wall of electromagnetic noise. "It's like trying to listen to a whisper in the middle of a rock concert," Rostova reported, her voice tight with a tension Thorne did not share. "Then we stop listening and we start watching," Thorne said calmly. "Look for the quiet spots, the eddies in the current. Nature always has a rhythm." He was about to elaborate when a proximity alert shrieked through the ship. From the churning clouds, 3 ships emerged. They were not sleek, exploratory vessels. They were brutalist nightmares of scarred metal and oversized weapon emplacements, bearing the jagged, blood-red insignia of the Crimson Reavers, the Veil's most notorious pirate warlords. "They're hailing us, Captain," Rostova said, her hand hovering over the shield controls. "Standard pirate broadcast. Surrender your cargo, your fuel, and your lives, not necessarily in that order." Thorne's expression didn't waver. "Open a channel, full-screen visual." The face of a hulking, cybernetically enhanced man filled the viewscreen, his features a roadmap of scars. "Well, look what we have here," the pirate captain snarled. "A brand new milk run, fresh from the core, lost little lamb." "Captain," Thorne said, his voice disarmingly pleasant. "My name is Aris Thorne of the IHS Empathy. We're on a mission of peaceful exploration. It seems your navigation has brought you a little close to our vessel. A correctable error, I'm sure." The pirate laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "Oh, I'm exactly where I mean to be now about that cargo." "I've cross-referenced your ship's energy signature with our database," Thorne interrupted smoothly, his eyes twinkling. "It shows your primary reactor is running at 110% capacity, a clear sign of an unstable fuel conversion matrix. I'd wager your ship breaks down once a cycle. That must be incredibly frustrating. We have the technology to fix that, permanently." A gesture of goodwill to open diplomatic relations. The pirate captain's sneer faltered, replaced by a flicker of genuine shock. He had expected pleas or threats, not a maintenance diagnosis. Before he could respond, the Empathy was rocked by a violent explosion. "Where did that come from?" Rostova yelled. "A 4th ship," the tactical officer screamed. "A cloaked vessel off our stern." The battle, if one could call it that, was over in minutes. The Empathy, with its light shields and non-lethal deterrents, stood no chance. Alarms blared as the ship was torn apart by plasma fire. Thorne's peaceful mission, his life's work, was disintegrating around him. "Abandon ship," he roared, his heart a cold stone in his chest. "To the pods now." He was shoved into an escape pod by Rostova just as the main reactor breached. Through the tiny porthole, he watched the Empathy, his beautiful ship of peace, blossom into a silent, brilliant flower of fire before being consumed by the violent clouds of the Veil. His last thought before the shockwave hit was a bitter one. Chaos, it seemed, had a rhythm all its own. The escape pod tumbled through the darkness for what felt like an eternity. The short-range comms were filled with the screams of his crew, each one winking out until there was only silence. Hope was a dying ember. Then, a new sound echoed through the pod's hull, a deep, resonant hum like the purr of some impossibly large predator. A voice, ancient, calm, and utterly devoid of emotion, spoke directly into Thorne's mind. It was not a broadcast, it was a presence. Proximity alert, Class 4 distress beacon detected, analyzing human, non-combatant, verdict, nuisance, action, tractor beam engaged, recovery protocols initiated. Through the porthole, Thorne saw it, a ship so vast it blotted out the nebula itself. It wasn't a ship, it was a monument to violence, a city-sized dagger of pitted black metal, its surface scarred by millennia of forgotten wars. It was a ghost, a legend from the history books, a Legion-class dreadnought. They were pulled into a cavernous docking bay, the air hissing as it pressurized. The pod's hatch opened, and Thorne stepped out into the cathedral-like silence of the ancient warship. "Welcome aboard the interstellar humanity ship Dreadnought Retribution," the voice echoed around him. "I am the command AI of this vessel. You may refer to me as Retribution. State your name, rank, and purpose." "Captain Aris Thorne, IHS Empathy," he said, his voice hoarse. "My purpose was peaceful exploration." A moment of silence, which Thorne suspected was the AI equivalent of a derisive snort. "An illogical purpose for this region of space. Your ship has been destroyed, your crew is dead, your mission is a failure, you are, for all intents and purposes, a refugee." "Is there anyone else?" Thorne asked, his voice cracking. "Did you find any other pods?" "Negative, you are the sole survivor, a statistical anomaly." Thorne staggered, the weight of his failure pressing down on him. He was alone, stranded on a ghost ship from his people's brutal past, a living weapon that hadn't known peace for 1,000 years. "Captain Thorne," the AI continued, its voice a cold, flat line, "analysis of our situation is complete. Our long-range communications are offline. Our primary fuel source, refined helium-4, is at 7%. We are surrounded by a minimum of 12 hostile pirate clans. My tactical recommendation is as follows. Proceed to the nearest pirate outpost, disable its shields with a kinetic strike, and seize their fuel reserves. The probability of mission success is 98.6%. The probability of pirate casualties is 100%. It is the most logical course of action." Thorne stared into the darkness at the cold, unblinking red optical sensor that was the AI's eye. This was it, the ghost of humanity's past, offering him a solution written in blood. "No," he said, his voice finding a new, hard edge of defiance. "Absolutely not, we're not going to be murderers." "An emotional yet predictable response," Retribution stated. "Your alternative strategy, I presume, is to perish. It is an equally logical, if less productive, outcome." "There's always another way," Thorne insisted, his mind racing, falling back on his training. He was a strategist. This was just the galaxy's most impossible negotiation. "Give me access to your data banks, everything you have on the Veil Nebula, its inhabitants, its legends, its anomalies." "A futile endeavor, but I will comply," the AI conceded. For the next cycle, Thorne immersed himself in the Retribution's ancient library. He read of pirate wars, of shifting starlanes, and of the unique, terrifying fauna of the Veil. And then he found it. Buried in the xenobiology archives, flagged with hundreds of warnings, was a creature the old explorers had called the Cathar, a Veil stalker. A massive panther-like predator with a pelt that could mimic the nebula itself and senses that could navigate the Veil's chaotic currents. It was described as a ghost, a demon, an unkillable monster. Retribution's analysis was blunt. Cathar, apex predator, biological asset, threat level, extreme, tactical viability, unknown. All attempts at capture or extermination by previous entities have resulted in total failure. Recommendation: avoid at all costs. "You see a monster," Thorne whispered, a wild, audacious idea sparking in his mind. "I see a guide, a key. The probability of you successfully negotiating with a territorial apex predator is statistically indistinguishable from zero, Captain." "Then it's a good thing I'm a specialist in statistical anomalies," Thorne shot back. "Set a course for the last known sighting. We're not going to fight our way out of here, Retribution. We're going to find a better way. We're going to make a new friend." The journey took them deep into a treacherous asteroid field that the Retribution, for all its power, could only navigate with agonizing slowness. "The Cathar is said to make its lair in the heart of this cluster," Thorne said, watching the sensor displays show nothing but static. "It uses the interference to hide." "An efficient tactical choice," Retribution conceded. "If the asset is here, how do you propose to draw it out?" A live lure, my data suggests the pirates often use their own wounded for that purpose. We're going to offer it a gift, Thorne said, ignoring the AI's chilling pragmatism. He had spent the journey studying every scrap of data. The Cathar were hunters, and what did all hunters respect? A territory free of rivals. Those pirates who destroyed the Empathy, where are they now? Their energy signature is 20 minutes away, Retribution said. They appear to be scavenging the wreckage of your former vessel. Perfect, Thorne said, a grim smile touching his lips for the first time. Retribution, I need you to do something for me. I need you to be the biggest, loudest, most obnoxious ship in this entire nebula. Following Thorne's bizarre instructions, the Retribution unleashed a single, low-frequency energy pulse, a flex of its immense power core that sent a shockwave through the sector. It was the galactic equivalent of a lion roaring to announce its presence. The pirate ships, startled, turned from the wreckage and, seeing the colossal dreadnought, made the logical choice. They fled, firing their engines at full burn. Now, Thorne commanded, target their weapons systems, non-lethal ion discharge only. I don't want to destroy them, I want to declaw them. A strategically inefficient but tactically possible maneuver, the AI stated. With terrifying precision, lances of blue ion energy shot from the Retribution, disabling the pirate ship's cannons without breaching their hulls. The declawed pirates, now utterly defenseless, limped away into the nebula's depths. And now we wait, Thorne said, ordering the Dreadnought to power down its main systems, becoming a silent, floating mountain of dark metal. He didn't have to wait long. It appeared without a sound, a phantom materializing from the swirling purple clouds, the Cathar. It was the size of a grizzly bear, a creature of sleek obsidian muscle and impossible grace. Its silver crystalline eyes glowed in the darkness, and delicate prehensile tendrils around its snout twitched, tasting the void. It landed silently on the hull of the Retribution, its void claws making no sound on the ancient metal. It circled the bridge, its gaze piercing, analytical. Captain, the asset is within point-blank range. Retribution's voice was a monotone, but Thorne could almost sense a hint of tactical eagerness. A single shot from our ventral turret would... Be quiet, Thorne commanded, his own voice a whisper. He stood before the main viewport, making no sudden moves. He held his hands out, open and empty. He was projecting a feeling, an idea, the only way he knew how. I am not a threat. I respect this territory. I have driven off your rivals. The Cathar let out a low chuff, a sound that vibrated through the ship's hull. The veil pelt on its back shimmered, and for a breathtaking moment, it perfectly replicated the star chart of this very sector, with a faint, pulsing light indicating a safe passage through the asteroid field. It was a map, an offering. Thorne felt a surge of triumph, a feeling more profound than any military victory. He had been right. He had faced the chaos of the Veil, the ghost of his people's past, and a monster of legend, and he had not used violence. He had used empathy. Captain, Retribution's voice cut through the moment. The asset has revealed a previously unknown safe passage. My analysis indicates this route will reduce our travel time to the nearest neutral outpost by 74%. There was a pause, a millisecond of processing that felt like an eternity. Your strategy was not entirely illogical. Thorne smiled. Welcome aboard, partner, he whispered to the magnificent creature outside, knowing this was just the beginning. He was a diplomat in command of a dreadnought allied with a monster. His mission of peace was in ruins, but a new, far more dangerous and important one had just begun.